Attention. If you or a loved one suffer from being completely ass at Call of Duty, this video may be able to help. Enjoy. Welcome guys. Thank y'all so very much for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and check out this video. My name is Matt, also known as Jackal, and today I'm going to be explaining to you guys the importance of callouts and effective communication in Call of Duty. There's really only going to be two major parts to this video, unlike past videos where there's been three. Two major parts I'm going to be laying out are why they're so important, how your game can change with communication, and how your teammates communicating back to you is just as important. And secondly, I'm going to give you guys my 4 major things that you need to be calling out in all of your matches consistently throughout the map. Without further ado, let's get into it. First and foremost, communication is key in any form of team environment. Think about it. Whether you're in high school or, out in the workforce, whatever you may be doing, most likely you're in a team setting somewhere in life. Whether it's a sports team, a marketing team if you're in marketing, sales force, whatever team you may be a part of, if you're stocking shelves at a grocery store, whatever it may be, you need to communicate to other people within your team, department, whatever it may be, within your team, that what you are doing should be done. They communicate to you what needs to be done. You communicate back what you're doing, what you need them to do in order to get the job done most quickly, most effectively, and most efficiently. Management 101 right there, guys. So you can take that little tidbit out into the workforce right there. Communication is key. This is no different in Call of Duty. It's just as much of a team sport, a team environment, as anything else that you're going to do in life. Being able to consistently communicate to your team what is happening in a language that people will understand. That is the key part in this. A language that everybody will understand. You don't just want to be communicating random garbage that nobody knows what you're talking about. You need to be able to use the terminology and the language that the rest of the team is going to understand in order to make this job a lot easier for everybody. Callouts in Call of Duty are another form of that. It's just a quick, efficient way to communicate the knowledge and the information that needs to be shared among the team. Just that, quickly and effectively. Now that we've given you guys an overview of the importance of calling out, I'm going to give you guys my top 4 things to be calling out and communicating to your team throughout the entirety of your maps. In no particular order, number 1 is locations. Now, this can refer to multiple things, mainly your location. That's the number 1 thing that people need to know, where you are at all times. Luckily, in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War and games past, and most likely games future, the developers have given us in-game callouts at the top left of our screen for every map so that you can use a universal language. This universal language is key to success. What's worse than having somebody tell you to do something and you have absolutely no idea what they're talking about? We've all been there. We've all done that. It sucks. Knowing exactly what somebody's talking about when they're communicating to you makes life so much easier. You don't want to be saying, hey, I'm over on the left if they're looking the other direction and their left is actually your right. Using these in-game location callouts and names that the game provides you gives you that universal language so that you know what everybody else is talking about and they know what you're talking about. Second thing that you need to be communicating to your team is the number of people, specifically the enemies that you see. This callout can go something along the lines of 1 pushing top mid, 1 pushing bottom plane if you're on checkmate, 1 pushing top blue on Nuketown. Whatever the callout may be, using that callout, letting your teammates know how many to expect in a specific location is important. Nothing worse than having you walk into the middle of a room and 3 guys pop out from behind a counter and mow you down. With proper communication techniques, this can be avoided. You will know, okay, there's 3 of them in there. Let's not go in that room yet. Maybe we can, time a push with another teammate. Maybe he can pick up 1 or 2, and I'll pick up the others. More things to communicate. Again, this is where those locations come into play. If you call out where somebody is, you need to make sure that whoever's hearing your callouts is going to understand where that is. Nothing worse than hearing 1 behind the car. What car, bro? What car are you talking about? I can think of multiple cars even on Nuketown alone. You gotta figure out which car you're talking about. You gotta figure out a way to delineate those differences between similar areas in the map. Third thing you need to be communicating to your team is how weak your opponent is. How many times have you gotten into an engagement where you just couldn't quite finish the kill? Slid around the corner, slid away from you, whatever it may have been. Or even if you died. You ever been into a gunfight with somebody and they actually won? You ever died in a game of Call of Duty? Of course you have. Everybody does. How many of those times did you actually get bullets on your opponent? More than 99%, I'd say, huh? That's what I thought. Being able to communicate this is important. Some of these communications will sound a little bit like this. He's one shot. He's absolute. I tagged him. These are three of the most common ways to tell people how weak an opponent is after disengaging from a gunfight in one way or another. I tagged him refers to I got a couple of bullets into him. He's not very weak. Expect him to push out and you'll need a few bullets to kill him. He's one shot and he's absolute are essentially the same thing. Basically what they're saying is he's extremely weak. One bullet will do the job to anywhere in his body. One thing you have to be wary about when making these callouts, specifically when hearing these callouts from your teammates, is remember, healing is automatic and in public matches there is stim shots. So, have to assume that he's a little bit more healed up than when you hear the call out, especially if you're ways away, if you're on the opposite side of the map or a couple rooms over. You have to take into effect how long it's going to take for you to get into the engagement with him, with that player, in order to actually get the kill. Final thing that you need to be calling out and communicating is your pathing. This refers to where you're going, how you're getting there, and what angle you're watching. Worst thing you want to do is just sit there mindlessly playing the game and not communicating to your team what you're doing. If you're pushing up on the objective, you need to let your teammate know, hey, I'm pushing. If you're going to be flanking around through street on Moscow, you need to let your teammate know, hey, flanking to mid through street. This final part, last thing I'm going to say about this last section is mainly going to be referring to those support players that I mentioned in my first video. Links down in the description to the playlist and as well as that single video right up here. What that refers to is what angle you're watching. Now, if you guys have watched my first video, you know that support players tend to watch angles, just sit on head glitches, watch one specific lane that enemies can come down. Those support players need to be able to communicate what they're exactly watching. There's nothing worse than having multiple players watch the same angle, and thus opening up a different angle for the enemies to come through. Nothing worse than that. Finally, there's one little number 4.5, that you need to be paying attention to, but this mainly refers to a designated captain in competitive play, or just take this role for you in public matches. Watch the objective. Whatever the objective of the game mode is, whether you're playing TDM and you just need to figure out how many kills you're at, whether it's the hardpoint clock in hardpoint, the score in hardpoint, the score in domination, your lives in control, whatever the objective may be, the bomb defusal time in search and destroy, whatever it needs to be, somebody needs to keep an eye on that consistently so that you know how close you are to the objective and how much time you need to be able to win the game and what plays you need to make to win the game. And finally, best way to communicate some of these is to string them together. You don't want to just say, hey, there's one in mid if you're in a gunfight. If you lose the gunfight, you don't want to just say, hey, one in mid. Yeah, that takes care of the location and how many you see. Tell him how weak he is. Hey, one in mid, he's one shot. Or, yo, I tagged one in mid, watch out. Keep it quick and concise. You don't want to clog up the comms too much with unnecessary words. Keep it quick, concise, right down to exactly what needs to be said. One in mid, he's one shot. One in mid, he's one shot. 6 words, so much information right there. That's about all I got for callouts, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the video if you liked it, or a dislike if you disliked it. Hit that subscribe button down below. Ding dong the notification bell so you know when I post my next video. As always, make sure to share this video with that one friend that you know needs help in Call of Duty. That one person that never communicates. He's just sitting there, mic muted, sitting there gaming his little heart out. Not always performing the best though. Send him this video. Hopefully it'll help. As always, hope you guys have a good rest of your day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you may be. I'll talk to you guys next one. Much love as always, homies. Peace.